The murder of 6-year-old JonBenét Ramsey captivated the nation and put her family under the microscope, with many speculating that her father, mother, brother, or all three were involved in her killing.
How did you feel seeing her?
A lot of sadness. I don't think I really fully grasped, just like, after this, I won't.
It was supposed to be a normal Christmas morning for the Ramsey family. 6-year-old JonBenét Ramsey should have been opening her gifts and spending time with her family, but instead, the police were called to their home. A strange ransom note was found, and within hours, JonBenét's body was discovered in the basement. Her death shocked the nation. What seemed like a family tragedy quickly turned into one of America's most talked about mysteries. Even after 28 years, people still wonder what really happened to JonBenét Ramsey. Now, after staying silent for nearly 3 decades, her brother Burke Ramsey has finally spoken publicly. His words have brought new attention to this case and left many asking fresh questions. A perfect family, or so it seemed. JonBenét Ramsey was just 6 years old, full of energy, charm, and dreams. She loved dressing up for beauty pageants and lighting up the stage with her smile. But behind the pageant crowns and the bright lights, her family seemed like any other, until one terrible night in 1996 changed everything. The Ramsey family lived in Boulder, Colorado. It was supposed to be a joyful Christmas. But early that morning, JonBenét's parents found a strange ransom note inside their home. The note demanded $118,000 for their daughter's safe return, an oddly specific amount that exactly matched a work bonus JonBenét's father had recently received. Panic set in. They called the police, but instead of finding hope, they found heartbreak. Hours later, JonBenét's father, John Ramsey, discovered his little girl's body in their basement. She had been beaten and strangled. Her life was taken in a brutal, senseless way. The family, under the spotlight. What happened next shocked the world even more. Instead of comforting the grieving family, suspicion quickly turned towards them. News outlets, TV shows, and newspapers began suggesting that JonBenét's parents, or even her older brother Burke, might be involved. Burke was only 9 years old at the time. Imagine losing your little sister, and then watching as people on TV point fingers at you. The headlines were everywhere, the rumors spread like wildfire. For years, Burke stayed silent. But now, nearly 3 decades later, he's finally sharing his side of the story, and what he has to say is making people look at the case in a whole new way. Burke's silent struggle. When the tragedy happened in 1996, Burke Ramsey was just a small boy. At only 9 years old, he didn't understand what was happening around him. One moment, he was a kid excited for Christmas. The next, his house was filled with police, reporters, and strangers asking difficult questions. The loss of his sister was painful enough, but what followed made it even worse. Burke, who should have been protected, became the center of rumors. Some people whispered that maybe, just maybe, he had something to do with it. These rumors weren't based on solid proof, but they stuck. For years, Burke stayed quiet. His parents, John and Patsy Ramsey, tried their best to shield him from the chaos. But no matter where they turned, the media was there, ready to blame someone. Burke later admitted that he struggled to understand everything. He didn't know what to say or how to react. Even during interviews, some people noticed he smiled nervously. But experts explained that these were not smiles of joy. They were the nervous reactions of a scared boy, overwhelmed by the situation. A family torn apart. As days turned into months and months into years, the Ramsey family faced unimaginable pain. They were not only grieving the loss of their beautiful daughter, but they were also fighting off constant accusations. It seemed like the whole world had already decided they were guilty. John Ramsey, JonBenét's father, remembers the most heartbreaking moments. He once shared how, during a simple trip to the grocery store, young Burke burst into tears after seeing a newspaper headline accusing him. Imagine being a child, walking through the store and seeing your own name next to the word killer. The Ramsey family's home, once filled with joy, turned into a place of sadness, fear, and confusion. Every corner reminded them of JonBenét, and every day brought new headlines, rumors, and public judgment, the strange clues. From the very beginning, the case was full of strange details that only deepened the mystery. There was the ransom note, demanding exactly $118,000, the same amount as John Ramsey's work bonus. There were signs of a struggle, but oddly, no clear evidence of forced entry. Investigators found items in the house, like a flashlight and a broken paintbrush, that made them question the family. Was it possible that someone inside the home was responsible, or had an outsider slipped in, unnoticed, and committed the unthinkable? For years, police and experts couldn't agree. Some believed the family was hiding something. Others thought the real killer was still out there, walking free. Burke breaks his silence. After nearly 3 decades of silence, Burke Ramsey finally decided to speak out. He appeared in an interview with Dr. Phil, sharing his experience, his fears, and the heartbreaking memories of that time. Burke firmly denied the shocking rumours that he had hurt his sister. He explained that he had been asleep during the tragic incident. He didn't hear anything unusual until the next morning when everything changed. He also talked about how terrifying it was to be blamed for something so horrible. The pressure, the lies, the constant whispers, it followed him for years. But now, as an adult, he wanted the world to hear his side. Experts analysed his body language during the interview. They looked for signs of deception, but many concluded that what they saw was not guilt. It was the nervousness of someone who had lived under suspicion for most of his life. A case full of mistakes. One reason the case remains unsolved is because of the mistakes made early in the investigation. Police failed to properly secure the crime scene. Reporters, neighbours, and even family friends were allowed inside the house before the area was fully examined. Important clues may have been lost forever. Jon Ramsey believes that if the investigation had been handled correctly from the start, the real killer could have been caught. Instead, the family became the focus, and valuable time was wasted. The media played a huge role in turning public opinion against the Ramseys. Their involvement in beauty pageants was highlighted as if it was somehow proof of wrongdoing. People judged the family based on rumours, not fact. The fight for justice, Jon Ramsey has never stopped fighting for justice for his daughter. Even after losing his wife Patsy to cancer in 2006, he continues to search for answers. In 2008, DNA testing cleared Jon and Patsy Ramsey of involvement in their daughter's death. But despite that, the mystery remains. Who killed JonBenét, and why? In recent years, advancements in DNA technology have given new hope. In 2018, a criminal was caught using advanced DNA methods, proving that with the right tools, old cases can finally be solved. Hope from the past. One person who never gave up on finding the truth was Detective Lou Smit. He believed that the Ramseys were innocent and that an outsider had broken into the home that night. Lou Smit spent years collecting evidence, building a list of potential suspects, and urging the police to look beyond the family. Sadly, he passed away in 2010, but before his death, he shared everything he knew with his daughter Cindy. Cindy is now carrying on her father's work. She's collecting DNA samples from possible suspects and using modern technology to try and solve the case. Jon Ramsey is hopeful that with Cindy's efforts and with public support, they may finally uncover the truth, the unanswered questions. The case of JonBenét Ramsey continues to haunt people around the world. Even after 28 years, it's hard to believe that such a terrible crime could go unsolved for so long. Jon Ramsey remains frustrated that the same investigators who mishandled the case still oversee it. He questions why new, experienced people haven't taken over with fresh eyes and modern tools. But despite the anger and the sadness, Jon holds onto hope. He believes that with advancements in forensic science, especially DNA testing, the answers are within reach. For Jon, this isn't about revenge, it's about justice. Justice for his daughter and peace for his family. A family's promise. Jon Ramsey has made a promise to never give up. He continues to work with DNA experts and pushes for the case to be reopened with new eyes. His message is simple. The person who took his daughter's life cannot be allowed to hurt anyone else. Burke, now living a quiet life as a software engineer, hopes his words will help people understand the pain his family endured and the truth that has been buried beneath years of rumours and accusations. The fight isn't over. As we reflect on this heartbreaking story, one thing is clear. The fight for justice for JonBenét is far from over. Jon, Burke, and others continue to search for answers. And with modern technology, new hope has been born. The question remains, will this be the year that the truth finally comes out. If you found this story insightful, don't forget to like the video and subscribe to our channel for more real-life mysteries and untold stories. And tell us in the comments, what do you think really happened to JonBenét?